about where he broached the subject of a head-to-head between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. And remember, Jeff Sessions, now the story is that Jeff Sessions said that wasn't a good idea. Even after that, Papadopoulos continued to have meetings and represent himself as a foreign policy advisor and try to sort of, improve relations between the Russians and the Trump campaign. And so, absolutely, he is a more important figure than the Trump administration is now suggesting.
And you have to tie it all into the Flynn guilty plea, because Flynn pled to a lie to the FBI in January about a telephone call with the Russian ambassador in January after the election. But we know from his guilty plea that lie somehow relates to the coordination between the campaign and the Russians during the campaign, because that was the materiality of the entire lie, according to his allocution to the federal district court when he pled guilty. So the real question is, what do sanctions have to do with this conspiracy? Was this a quid pro quo that the Russians would steal these emails, use them to help Donald Trump get elected, and then in return the Trump administration would drop these sanctions? I think that's where this is all heading.
And you're really breaking it open here, Nick, the idea of what is the playing field that Mueller and his team is considering. And Ken, as we look back now to May 2016, this field is getting bigger. And is Robert Mueller and his team starting, if you will, from the very beginning and just going month by month or day by day, week by week? And with this reporting, we now know at least May 2016, if it again comes to be true, that Mueller is looking at.
Well, absolutely. Look, we know the FBI investigation began in July 2016. It began with this information and other information, including information from Christopher Steele. And it's been chugging along ever since on two tracks, both the collusion track and the obstruction of justice track. And there's no sign that either of those are finishing up, despite what we're hearing from some Trump allies, anytime soon. In fact, we've got potentially a trial of Paul Manafort and Rick Gates that could happen, many, many months from now. And we may need to see the outcome of that before we get to the bottom of this. So the Mueller investigation, I think 2018 is going to be a crucial year, but there's no sign that it's wrapping up, Richard.
So obstruction, Nick, which is one path that the Mueller team is looking at, and of course there's also the issue of collusion.
Well, it's the issue of conspiracy. That's the crime. The crime is conspiracy.
What's your sense, based on the reporting so far as we head into the new year, in terms of the way Mueller might be leaning? Is he equally weighting both of these paths?
Oh, I think the big enchilada here is the conspiracy to break into the Democratic National Committee in violation of the federal computer crime law and to use those emails to help Donald Trump get elected. All of that is motive as to why Donald Trump and others were endeavoring to obstruct the investigation, and why Donald Trump told James Comey to let the investigation on Flynn go. All of this is going to come together in 2018.
Well, let's move from the